Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. Aquadam.net. Give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, having to deal with the insurance company, not to mention the memories that are lost that you can never replace. To those who live in flood-prone and hurricane-prone areas, which is just around the corner, prepare now. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Visit Aquadam.net to see how they can help you prepare to avoid flood damage this season and every season thereafter. An Aquadam could be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. A cofferdam, using water to control water, that can protect your home, your business, your church, your neighborhood, like a dam, but without the beavers. Give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119, 707-764-2119, or look them up online at aquadam.net. They're also on Facebook at Aquadam Inc., or call or email them today. They can help you out. Give them a call. Tell them Opperman Report sent you. Opperman Report, that's 10% off the price to anyone who mentions the Opperman Report.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. And this show is brought to you by the support of our sponsors, our wonderful sponsors here that should have been pulled up. Let's see here. Let me find these guys and get the show going here. It's like the slowest computer I have. Well, one of our sponsors, everybody knows, is almightygold.com. Gold! All right, everybody knows that. AlmightyGold.com. They sell gold in minute quantities that anybody can invest in. What the hell just happened here? Give me a break, guys. Hey, AlmightyGold.com. Let me find this. Well, I might as well make the announcement here. But their show's starting on KCAA AM/FM radio in California this Monday at 10 p.m. Come on. As you can see, I'm a professional radio host. I'm a pro at this here on a professional radio station. This show ain't going to play on there, that's for sure. Let's see if I can get it going this time. Yeah, big news. The show got picked up to go on AM and FM radio on 3 frequencies in the state of California, with covering a population of 8 million people. So this is no joke, folks. We're on AM radio right now up in Utah, and of course we're on internet stations all over the country, all over the world. But on all the podcast platforms as well. But this is a really big deal. We're going to be reaching a lot of people coming this Monday night, and the owner of the station is so excited about the show. I sent him some shows that he cut me a deal you would not believe, man. And our great sponsor, CartKing.com, is the man who paid us a year in advance to get us on there. You can reach him at 877-986-7771. If you've ever thought of going into the mobile cart or kiosk business, cart-king.com. These are the guys you want to talk to. They've been working on building carts and kiosks and designing this kind of stuff for 20 years. For any application, indoors, outdoors, those souvenir stands you see outside of the hot dog stands you see outside of a Little League field, to the ones you see inside the mall or in a hospital lobby where they sell coffee or snacks, or the ones you see in the middle of in the lobby of an office building or something like that. Cart-king.com. You go to the website, you see which one applies to your business. You look at all the different carts, the wonderful styles they have and models, and you pick the one that applies to you, and they'll custom build it for you, they'll custom design it for you, and then they'll ship it worldwide. So it doesn't matter where you're listening. Another one of our great sponsors is Pure Soap Flakes Company, puresoapflakes.com. And you can bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, or sodium lauryl sulfate and synthetic additives. Now, that sodium lauryl sulfate stuff, it's not even a soap. It's an irritant that removes a layer of your skin. So this is a whole different operation, and it feels different. Your clothes feel different. And when you clean your pots and pans with this stuff, it's cleaner than you've ever seen before. This stuff is no joke. It's because it's really meant to clean. It's not to sell you something, The wonderful woman, Christine, who owns the company, has been very supportive of our show, been a huge sponsor for us. You can find it at puresoapflakes.com, greenhome.com, amazon.com, or you can give them a call at 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. You can also find it at Whole Foods. So you walk right in and out of Whole Foods, man, with your shopping bag, those little reusable bags people use there in Whole Foods, those little kiddie shopping carts, and fill up your cart and your bag with a pile of soap flakes. That's it. That's all my sponsors. And at emailrevealers.com, you can get an autographed copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. We do email tracing. We can locate or identify somebody online, online defamation cases. What do you do? Asset searches, locates, emailrevealer.com. Okay. Well, I told you about our big success here with the AM station at KCAA, AM, FM in California. That's big news. Also, too, got a lot of other good stuff going on, too. It looks like the TV show. I filmed a sizzle reel for a TV show, and it's looking like that's all sold. Okay? Gold. Sold. It looks like the TV show has a green light to go, as they say in the Hollywood game here. And so it's got to work out some minor details and make sure everything's on the up and up and stuff like that. And I think we got a deal here to go. So you'll be seeing the Opperman Report on HBO or Netflix or something like that with a budget to actually produce this kind of stuff and work on different kind of investigations and things like that as well. So keep an eye out for that. on a how do they used to say that, on a channel near you? How do they used to say that back in the old days? Brought to you on a station near you. Anyway, God, Zooks, I hope I can get through this night. I'm exhausted. What a week this has been. You know, with all this KCAA stuff. And I got a bunch of cases I'm working on. I'm really stretched thin. And my poor little girl not poor little girl, my successful daughter on her way off to college to American University in Washington, D.C. She's all excited. She's got her first job, and she's heading over there. Okay, the name of the show is what? Ted Gunderson. All right, I know, because people get so upset. I was going to do a whole bunch of stuff before we got to Ted Gunderson. But I know people get upset when they see the title and they say, well, he doesn't start talking about it until 7 minutes into the show. This guy is self-indulgent, they call me. That's what they like to say. Everyone loves to complain about good old Ed Opperman. I do nothing but work for you guys for free. But all right, abuse me all you want. All right, Ted Gunderson. Who was Ted Gunderson? Well, you can Google him, or you can look on YouTube. He's got some videos there on YouTube and stuff like that. He's involved in a lot of stuff. He's an FBI agent in charge of Los Angeles, right? Back in the 70s and the 60s, and I think even up till the 80s. And one thing, the thing you got to remember the most about Ted Gunderson when you're looking into these kind of things is that Ted Gunderson was the FBI agent in charge of California during the time of the COINTELPRO program, which was run by the FBI. And it was focused in the FBI against the Black Panthers, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, or as Ted would call them, the militant black radicals. Because he told me, he admitted to me that he was involved in those programs there, against the FBI and the militant black power movement. He would use phrases like that. Now, and then when he retired from the FBI, the first case he got involved in was the Jeff McDonald case, the Fort Bragg murders. And that's a story where this doctor named Jeffrey McDonald, who was a doctor there on the base, I think he was a colonel, he claims this witches cult came breaking into his house, like a Charles Manson type witches cult came breaking into his house and murdered his family and tried to kill him. And he was ultimately charged and convicted with those murders. That he was dismissed through the military justice court, but then he was charged later on and convicted of those crimes. And Ted Gunderson, after retiring from the FBI, that was his first case as a private investigator, the Jeffrey McDonald case. And he obtained a witness, Stokely, this woman in a floppy hat, who pretty much confessed to being a murderer. And she confessed to being with these killers and being in that house and killing these people. And Ted Gunderson uniquely had control over this witness. He's the one that found her. He's the one that videotaped her. He's the one that arranged, got her some kind of immunity deal, you know. Somehow he got inserted himself into this case and seemed to be handling the main witness, who confessed to being a part of this cult that murdered this family. Now, what's interesting is, and it's going to come up later on again, is another guy who was stationed at Fort Bragg at this time was Colonel Michael Aquino, the first satanic chaplain in the military. The head of the Temple of Set, and accused of many serious occult-type crimes, satanic ritual abuse. His name comes up over and over and over again over the years. And he did an appearance on, I think it was the Phil Donahue show, or it could have been Geraldo, along with Ted Gunderson. So here's Ted Gunderson working on this case involving a murder, an occult-type murder, and who's stationed at the same base there where this murder takes place is Colonel Michael Aquino. This is also Fort Bragg where all that heroin smuggling was coming in during the Vietnam War, and those body bags. You hear those stories all the time. And the heroin wound up getting sold up in New York City from the used to call them the Georgia Boys. So now, that's common knowledge. That's out there. Everybody knows that. Now, I've had some my suspicions about Ted Gunderson's involvement in that case and how he was handling this witness. And I've tried to express those concerns and those suspicions to, I had Karen McDonald on my show several times, and to people involved in around the Jeff McDonald murder case. I first came into contact personally with Ted Gunderson. I was working for this company. It was an information broker company. And PIs and lawyers and collection agencies and law firms and bail bondsmen would go to them and purchase information. Locates. You'd get a name and address from a phone number. You'd get a name and address from a plate number. And one of the things they sold was local usage, it was called LUDs, where you can get a copy of someone's phone bill and see all the local calls they were making on their phone bill as long as it was out of a local exchange. And you get a copy of all their long-distance phone calls, too, as well. This is before cell phones. This is on home phone bills. Okay? And I was the provider of that information to this company. And then they would sell to all these people, private investigators and lawyers and stuff like that. So I was getting a small cut, and they were making a lot of money selling this information. Now, what happened was the company started having problems, and they were kind of going out of business, and employees were leaving and coming and going, all this kind of stuff like that. So, when you call down and you're working with these people, you make friends with them, and then they tell you, hey, I'm leaving the company. And they said, hey, Ed, do you want a list of all our clients? And I said, yes, I would like a list of all your clients. Yes, I would like that very much. Thank you. Okay? Send me that list of your clients. I would love that. I'm the kind of guy that people love to drop things like that in my lap, man. It's happened my whole life. And they gave me this list, and I'm looking up and down the list. There's all these names and famous people. So I'm calling them all up one by one. I didn't even have the wherewithal to put together a mailer back in those days. I didn't even consider that. I was just calling them up, cold calling. Hey, you're working with this company. I'm the guy that supplies the information. You want to work with me directly? And I called one of the numbers on there, and it was Ted Gunderson, and it turned out it was Ted Gunderson's cell phone. And he picked up the phone and starts talking to me. So, it was definitely a big name that I knew. So I was very, excited to be talking to him. And as a man, many years older than me, my senior, been working in the FBI and private investigations longer than I had been alive. And we talked about this and that. I'm asking him all these questions. Hey, what about McMartin Preschool? What about the Jeff McDonald case? What about this? What about that? What do you know? And he just sat there and talked to me, And we were talking about this and that, and he came up with this idea, and it was just so... I guess I told him that I was involved in some cases where we did counter surveillance, where we would do bug sweeps and locate bugs, and I told him how we also worked on some of the big cases, because right away you start bragging about the cases you worked on. The Pizza Connection case, where we would listen to the FBI wiretaps of the defendants, and then the FBI would describe what the defendant said in their transcript, but we would provide our own transcript to the court, saying, so if they said something like, well, we're going to sell some drugs, we would say, no, it says we're going to give them a hug. He's not going to sell drugs. He's going to give them hugs, okay? Or we're going to break his legs. He says, no, what is it break? He says he's going to break some eggs. He's going to make them an omelet. So we would have an alternative version of the transcript is what the FBI came up with. So I guess I made those jokes. I've told those same jokes 1,000 times. And somehow Ted Gunderson got it into his head that I was some kind of an audio expert or something like that, which I wasn't. I was doing grunt work, with the counter surveillance. I definitely wasn't an expert in that stuff at all. And I wasn't an expert either in, but he came up with this idea that he wanted me to dub his videotapes. And see, by the way, too, even before I ever called Ted Gunderson on the phone, this is before the internet, and what we used to do back then is churches and extreme conspiracy groups and stuff like that, the way we would circulate this information was we would mail VHS tapes to each other. And, it would circulate the rounds in these tapes of conspiracy theories and stuff like that, bizarre stuff about the... I remember there was this one about how when you drove down the highway in the opposite direction, there was all these little stickers on the back of the road signs, and they would lead you to certain places. And if you followed those stickers, it would take you to heliports where you could escape. Like they were like escape routes or something like that, you know? Anyway, and, you know, FEMA camps and all that stuff like that. So Ted used to sell tapes, okay? And he got it in his head that I somehow could dub these tapes for him. And he proposed the idea to me, and I guess I said to him, okay, yeah, you know, oh, sure, you know, I'll look into it for you. Maybe I can buy a dubbing machine and I can dub these tapes for you. And from that day on, anytime I had the opportunity to talk to Ted Gunderson, he would bring up, well, you never dubbed those tapes for me. I would tell him, well, Ted, I'm not in that business. I'm not a tape dubber guy, you know. I'm just, you know, I'm the information broker. I'm the guy that sells you your phone numbers, remember? I'm not the dubber guy. But he had that thing in his head that I was dubbing tapes for him. The next time, or the next important thing in this story that I need you to understand is one day, the internet comes around, right? And I started getting involved in Usenet and debating people on Usenet and stuff like that, and AOL chat rooms and AOL message boards and things like that. And one day I saw there was an AOL group about the McMartin preschool. And I started debating people on it, typing away with my fingers, my little two fingers, they're typing away like a madman. And I get a message from someone, and she says, is this Alex Constantine? And I says, no, it's not Alex Constantine. She says, well, you sound just like him. And she gives me her phone number. She says, call me up. It turns out it was Jackie Maguli, one of the mothers of the McMartin preschool case. So I call her up and we start talking. I said, oh, boy, and I've always wanted to talk to you. We started talking about this and that. And I said, well, you know, I started talking about the tunnel reports. And she goes, oh, yeah, you know, I paid for those reports. And Ted Gunderson was selling those reports without my permission. You know, he was making a profit over it. And so we started talking about Ted. And it turned out that Ted lived with her for a good period of time. And then she said, and I don't know how it came up, but I'll never forget, she said to me that he talks to Michael Aquino on his phone every day. And when I heard that, I said, whoa, why would he be talking to Michael Aquino on his phone every day? And she said, well, to make himself feel important. That was her conclusion. And when I heard that, I says, well, okay, I guess maybe that would motivate someone to do that. You know, I didn't mention, too, that in this period of time, you know, you'd mentioned to people, oh, yeah, you know, I've done business with Ted Gunderson. I talked to Ted Gunderson. I know Ted Gunderson. You know, you mentioned this to people in the PI business, you know, and you started hearing these stories about there's a thing in the PI business of these lonely widows that contact you, you know, and they have some kind of problem. Either the problem could exist in their head. It's either a real problem or something. They're lonely, you know, and they're looking for the adventure, the excitement. They watch these PI shows on TV, and, you know, they want to give you money, and they want to hire you to do this or that. And, you know, mostly you turn that stuff down, you know. If there's any way in your head you could justify it, you know, you might take the case. I've taken a couple of those cases. I can't deny it. I don't think anybody has. But some people will take all those cases, you know, the lonely widow cases. And then you even hear stories about how these women will call you up and says, well, you know, I hired so-and-so to look into this case, and he even took me out on a surveillance with him one night. We sat in his van and did surveillance together, which is like totally, you know, unethical and ridiculous. You know, what a conflict of interest. You're going to take one client and bring him on a surveillance on another case. It's just crazy. I'm not saying he ever did that, but word started getting around that these lonely women who make the rounds of the PI world, these lonely old ladies. By the way, I hardly get those calls anymore. Since I started doing the show, it's fascinating. That he was taking a lot of those cases and taking money from people and stuff, you know. And then, let's see, what would be next? Okay, the next thing that came up was the Art Bell stuff. Now, by the way, too, during this period of time, you'd see there was a group of women, too, that were involved in online stalking, online controversies that all had stories about Ted Gunderson, too. And they were exposing Ted Gunderson. Now, usually when I see these kind of internet stuff, people, I'm exposing you, I'm exposing this one, I'm exposing that one. Those people, 99% of the time, they're crazy. There's two sides to every story. So I just chalked it up to, well, either you love him or you hate him, because I still had a lot of respect for him, even after I heard what Jackie Magoli said about him with Michael Aquino. You know, even after I knew the guy was COINTELPRO. Everyone in this radio business nowadays, they talk about COINTELPRO this and COINTELPRO that. This is a guy that was the real COINTELPRO. And I'm sensitive to that because in real life, okay, back when in the 70s when I was a political activist in New York City, I was a target of COINTELPRO. People I know, people I met were arrested by the FBI under COINTELPRO. We had outside agitators and provocateurs infiltrate our group. We saw it. We caught them. You know, this is something I lived in real life. Not this stuff where, oh, I got some static on my internet connection, so it must be the NSA. You know, and I had a guy the other day saying, there was censorship on your show when he was trying to report something about Bush and the interference in the connection. I said, no, man, I had a crappy internet connection. That's not. Okay, I know real life, okay, infiltration and agitation, real life. Okay, not with this stuff you hear on 99% of these radio shows or internet podcaster shows, you know. Ted Gunderson was COINTELPRO, for real. The real COINTELPRO, the COINTELPRO that killed Black Panthers. Okay? That's what he did for real. He was in charge of it in the Los Angeles office there. So the next thing that came up, after all that business back and forth of these controversies online of stalking back accusations and allegations back and forth, the next thing that came up was the Art Bell lawsuit. A lot of these things I've talked about a little bit of it during my shows I've done about Jeff McDonald or just PI stuff, or I've mentioned these stories. You know, McMartin Preschool, I've mentioned this several times, but this is the first time I'm putting it all together in one show. The Art Bell lawsuit. Okay. Oh, boy. I stumbled into it. I did a whole show about my involvement with Art Bell and the Art Bell lawsuit. So you can go find that because it's a long story. I've done a couple of them. But basically, Art Bell was being stalked and harassed by some former guests on his show that were just complete lunatics and crazy people. And I stumbled into it, and then I wound up on a message board in the middle of the night one night, and I fell right into this whole thing. I started debating with all of them, and they started thinking I was Art Bell or that I had something involved in the case. And then just by accident, I had a feeling, Art Bell said he was going to make an announcement. I had a feeling he was going to announce a lawsuit against these people, so I posted it. I said, the little bird told me he's going to make a lawsuit. Total bluff on my part. And it turns out he announced that, so from that point forward, everybody assumed that I had some kind of inside connection with Art Bell. And after that night, I did, because he started contacting me. Okay? And ultimately, I negotiated a settlement in that lawsuit for him. I became a witness, and my witness testimony, my negotiations with the defendants, and my friendship with Art Bell. You know, for a while, he was driving me nuts. Calling me every 20 minutes. Anyway. But I helped him out with that lawsuit. He was suing these people for $60 million. And I helped him settle that lawsuit. So, but he had a second lawsuit, unrelated to that one, against Ted Gunderson. Because Ted Gunderson had made a statement on his shortwave radio station. He was here in Las Vegas on a shortwave radio station. And he made some statements that were false and defamatory against Art Bell. So I figured, well, here I am, you know, I had this huge success of negotiating a settlement there. Let me call Ted Gunderson and see if I can settle with him, too. Because I knew them both. I spent many hours talking to Art Bell. I spent many hours talking to Ted Gunderson. They were the same guy. They were the same right-wing kind of, kind of guy. You know? And I just said, boy, these two guys, you know, if they ever got together and hung out, they'd be buddies. You know? But Gunderson said something stupid. It wasn't backed by any fact. Not that Bell was an angel, but I don't believe it for a second what he was accused of. And I think it was a misunderstanding, a confusion. So I get a hold of Gunderson, and I tell him, listen, man, you're being sued by Art Bell, right? Yeah, I'm being sued by Art Bell. And so, Art Bell's a friend of mine, and I just helped him settle his lawsuit with these other guys. And, I think we can settle this if you and Bell can work this out. And what he told me was, he goes, well, I'm not worried about that lawsuit. He said, I'm not worried about that lawsuit because my PI insurance, my errors and omissions insurance, is covering me and defending me in that lawsuit. So I'm a private investigator. I have errors and omissions insurance. So I know that when you're a private investigator and you make a mistake in a case, you make an error, or you leave something out of your report, an omission, and it causes damage to your client can sue you for those damages, or the attorney can sue you for those damages. And your insurance company steps in and covers those problems. They defend you in court. So to me, at the time, it made sense. Well, okay, if you're a radio host, and for a private, his insurance is covering this for him. But I know today that's impossible. Your errors and omissions insurance will only cover your private investigation work. It does not cover what you see on the radio or other outside of your profession. But at the time, I didn't know. I didn't think. But he wasn't concerned because his insurance company was handling this. Some kind of insurance policy he had was handling this. Then after he lost and he had a payment was made to Bell, I contacted him again. I says, hey, man, what happened, And he said, I wish I had listened to you. I wish that I never settled. I wish I never let the insurance company handle it. Because, I don't think I did anything wrong. And I said, okay. So what insurance policy covered that case for him? Now, years after that, I guess it was around 2003, I started the company emailrevealer.com. And my focus at the time when I first opened up the company was cyberstalking cases and online harassment, defamation cases, that I could locate and identify someone from an email address. And I invented those techniques that still many people use today. Because when I first started doing it, nobody was doing it. Okay? Nobody was even dreaming of the stuff I was doing back in those days. And it's kind of funny, too, because the way I invented that is because I was being stalked by people from the Art Bell lawsuit. And I, went to everybody I knew, hey, how do you get a name and address from an email address? And said, everyone said you can't do it, And they would tell you these things. Well, take the IP address and put it in Sam Spade, and it directs you back to the internet service provider, and then you get a subpoena and go after them. It's all useless. That's a waste of time. So I figured out my own little tricks and traps on how to identify people from an email address. I still use them today. And a lot of people use my techniques now today. Now, some of the first people who started coming to me and hiring me, and I had a little affiliate program, just like the Almighty Gold affiliate program, that if you would place the link on your website, and someone clicked on that link, you get a commission. Some of the people who became affiliates and started hiring me were people who were back and forth with this controversy and this online stalking stuff with Ted Gunderson. So now I got to talk to that end too and hear what they had to say. And again, there's a lot of he said, she said, and all this. And I'm not going to pass any judgment on any of that. I'm just going to tell you that it existed. So now, fast forward to many, many years later, okay, to now, right before Ted Gunderson dies. Now, if you go online, a lot of people who never met the guy, never knew the guy, never had anything to do with him will tell you he was poisoned by arsenic and all these killers. So I don't believe any of that. Okay, I don't think anybody who really knows him or knew him or lived with him, because there's so many stories, hysterical stories, man, about the couch surfing with different people, different characters, selling Stinger missiles and undercover operations, all kinds of stuff, man. All these stories are out there. I've done many shows about him. I did some shows with Doug Millar, who lived with him. for a while, who still loves Ted, by the way, thinks he's a great guy. And when he was alive, I thought he was a great guy too. I never had any problems with him. I looked up to him. I respected him. When he was still alive, I had another case. This woman came to me, and I forget what the origin of the case was, but there were some people involved in some litigation or something she had, or some arrest or accusations or something, that she was convinced that they were undercover agents. And she wanted me to find out what was going on with that. And so there's things you can do to find out, how they're employed. There's investigations you can do on people to find out how they make their money, how they're employed. And in this case here, I suspected the person was on disability. You can't be on disability and be an FBI agent at the same time. You can be an informant or something like that, but you can't be working for the FBI as an undercover agent. So this client tells me, and this is we're talking like 2005, 2006, around then, comes and tells me, oh, I was down at the FBI headquarters down there in California, Los Angeles, and I ran into Ted Gunderson. And I said, what are you talking about? Ted Gunderson's retired from the FBI. What would he be doing there? And she goes, oh, no, he was working there. He was still working there. And I said, but Ted Gunderson, are you sure? She goes, oh, yeah, I watched his videos, and I stopped him, and I talked to him, and we chatted at the FBI office there in Los Angeles. This is years and years and years after he claimed he had retired from the FBI. So now, when I think back, and I says, well, what insurance policy was covering him? Could it have been his federal Bureau of Investigation insurance policy, the fraternal order of FBI agents that was paying for his lawsuit? I don't know, but I could tell you that these are my suspicions, and these are my, I was contacted by another guy who was a family member of John DeCamp and knew Ted Gunderson as well, and he talked my ear off for days and days and days. We were supposed to record. He chickened out at the last minute. And he just had so many things. And if you listen to Stu Webb, what Stu Webb has to say, and these are people that they knew each other, they lived together, So there's a lot of different remarks back and forth and accusations back and forth with different people. Some people love him, and some people hate him. And usually the people that love him never met him. They just watch those videos. And you got to remember, too, about a lot of those old VHS videos and interviews and stuff that were done in, like, church basements and stuff. Like Kathy O'Brien did one and her husband did one. That now that they're on YouTube and they have, like, 3 million, 10 million views and everybody's seen them, everybody talks about them. When those videos were being done, when they were being recorded, the people there never in their life expected that one day like 10 million people were going to be watching this. They thought they were just doing a little speech in a church basement, and it was being videotaped, and they were going to sell 100 videos in a year. Okay, so there's a lot of things that were bandied about and exaggerated and stuff like that that no one ever expected. Now, I've told that story many, many times, and the person who told that to me was Ted Gunderson. Oh, well, those tapes you see on YouTube, I never thought that they were going to reach all that many people. And the way he said it to me was kind of like, well, don't take it with a grain of salt. I was exaggerating to a bunch of in a church basement. So that's my Ted Gunderson adventure that I can share with you, my personal experience. Now, you may have a different experience. You may have a different relationship with Ted Gunderson, whatever, and that's fine. I can just tell you my experience with him, dealing with him directly, dealing with people who lived with him, and share that with you. I'm not making any accusations. I have no hard feelings. I respected him. I looked up to him. Okay, and even when I knew he was going COINTELPRO, it's still, I can kind of make a disconnect. Compartmentalize that, and say, well, this guy was working against me, part of his life here, but he's not such a bad guy, and he's charming in a way, like I can look at a guy like Paul Baresi, the guy's done a lot of stuff that, he worked for Michael Jackson. I can't condone that. I wouldn't work for Michael Jackson, but in other ways, he's a charming guy, he's a likable guy, and I can work with him, He's a funny guy for sure, we've become friendly off the air since the show, and his other buddy too, So, I don't know. The PIs come in all shapes and sizes, and all degrees of ethics, but it's a tough game, and I think we all work with each other, and a bunch of washwomen gossip too all the time too. That's a whole other story about PIs, but I don't know. That's my Ted Gunderson story, and I'm sticking with it. Okay, when we get back, I'll share some more stuff with you in my week, and some stuff came out about Jeffrey Epstein. So we'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. AlmightyGold.com. Get your gold in affordable quantities. 1 gram, 2.5 grams, 5 grams, no minimum purchase required. Why save in paper when you can save in gold? AlmightyGold.com understands it's difficult to afford gold in large quantities. No one can afford an ounce of gold. This is why Almighty Gold has introduced to you Carat Bars, a most reliable company where you can buy gold in minor quantities from as little as 1/10 of a gram. That's like $6. Each gold bar is inset into the Carat Bar frame, which is a standard credit card size, and it's covered by a safety laminate. It's imprinted with a unique DNA for counterfeit protection and provided with a blacklight authenticity signature on the front. Gold, AlmightyGold.com. They have a cryptocurrency backed in gold, and you can become an affiliate at AlmightyGold.com and make a commission from any gold that is purchased from your affiliate link. It's contact us at almightygold.com. That's their email address. Contact us at almightygold.com. Gold! Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe add new point-of-sale locations across the country quickly, or bring in revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services to your office building, warehouse, or lobby? CartKing.com is the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, food, carts, and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. That's www.cart-king.com. Give them a call at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. So you go to the website, CartKing.com, you check out their different designs and models. You pick out which design applies to your business. They'll custom design it for you, custom build it for you, and ship it worldwide. CartKing.com. PureSoapFlakes.com. 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. Order today at puresoapflakes.com, greenhome.com, amazon.com, or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, Private Investigator Ed Opperman. Okay, let's see. I'm exhausted. How's that? Okay, let's see. Well, a lot of things happened in the news this week. Oh, boy. Hey, I had a guest on earlier tonight, Mark Lane. Oh, by the way, if you're listening on YouTube, a couple of the shows didn't get uploaded to YouTube. So if you want to catch them, I'll try and upload them. I'm doing the best I can. But they didn't get uploaded to YouTube correctly, so they're on Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com. And one is a show I did with a young man, he's my age, Mark Lane, who, not the Mark Lane from Jonestown and the JFK assassination, but this guy runs a an advocacy group for these migrants, trying to cross the border here and seek asylum. These asylum seekers, these kids that are in these detention centers. And I interviewed him really 8 o'clock in the morning. We were both tired and, cranky. And just these horrific stories he's telling about these poor families. And there's specifically one was this little girl, 6 years old, was molested in one of these detention centers. And it's not like this is someone's making it up or there's a question. The father and mother were notified by the center in writing that their daughter was molested. And then they said, well, and then we warned your daughter not to go near the boys that were molesting her, and she went back and they got molested again. So this time it's her fault. That's the the crux of the case there. So hopefully he's going to get good representation there to take care of that situation. Obviously, I'll help any way I can. But he was telling that story, and another story of a young woman who's seeking asylum, who has never in her life had consensual sex. She's only been raped, And we can't say, like a country like Guatemala, we can't say that we're not responsible for the conditions in that country. Did you know that a U.S. company, the United Fruit Corporation, owns 50% of the land in that country? A U.S. company owns 50% of the land in Guatemala. And I also know because I had friends who were part of the ruling family in Guatemala too as well. And he attended West Point here in the United States. We have a huge amount of influence in what goes on in that country. This is one of the most dangerous countries on the planet. Crime that goes on in the streets there. And it's basically run by a U.S. agricultural company. That's where we grow our fruit and our vegetables and stuff down in Guatemala, and we ship it up here. The flowers you get, when you go buy flowers at a florist, they get shipped up there from Guatemala. We create our country. We're responsible for the conditions in these countries. And then when people try and escape, we take them, we throw them in cages. Hey, committing no crime. You got to watch the show. I know so many people will comment now and say, hey, they came here illegally. They deserve it. No, it's not illegal to request asylum. And we're putting them in these cages, not to punish them for a crime they've committed. We're just detaining them that way. And we're separating the families when many of these children have relatives here in the United States who would take them under a foster care program. Or we have a foster care system in this country. If you or I get arrested tonight and there's no one to care for our children, they're put into emergent foster care. When me and my ex-wife lived in New York City, we applied for the foster care system. And we went through training to be emergent foster parents. That when it was emergency, when someone was arrested and the kids had no one to take care of them, that they would be taken to our home and we could care for them. So this program exists, and it costs it's a lot cheaper than $750 a day, which is what we're paying these private prisons run by John Kelly, the former chief of staff, to run these cage joints here where kids are getting molested. So listen to my guest, Mark Lane, okay? I know there's a lot of right-wingers out there that have this whole fantasy going on in their head about, well, they should come here legally. They're here legally. They should wait in line. This is the process, Well, we're doing this to protect the children. Well, the kids are being molested in there, It's just exhausting. I started today like 7 o'clock in the morning, It's just exhausting. Speaking of exhausting, today there was a lawsuit today where fans of Michael Jackson initiated a lawsuit in France against two of Michael Jackson's victims. Two of the people that accused Michael Jackson of molesting him. Now, by the way, the same group of fans have threatened to sue me too in this French court. To get a judgment against me, and they want $1 apiece, just to prove that And they've been threatening me. They want to sue me in France. Okay. Which reminds me, I have Diane Diamond's going to be coming back on the show. I had Dano Hanks come back on. What a great guy. He was involved in a Michael Jackson case as well. And he thinks Michael Jackson was guilty. And I had him back on the show to talk about the John Benet Ramsey case. And I forget what came up. Diane Diamond's name came up. And I says, I had her on the show. It was one of my most popular shows. Everybody loved her. And he says, yeah, she's just added to her book. And within 5 minutes, I'm off the air. He's Ed, call. I just talked to Diane Diamond and get her on the air. So that's cool stuff, man, when you have someone like that helping you out. So Michael Jackson fans are suing Michael Jackson victims. That's what we've come to in this country. Kids in cages. Well, one little bit of a success we've had is, let me see how this works out, is a judge ruled, it was a defamation case against some people surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein case. Right? One of Jeffrey Epstein's victims is suing Ghislaine Maxwell because Maxwell said that her allegations were a lie and were crazy and were BS. So she filed a defamation suit against Maxwell, and it was sealed. It was, settled favorably, by the way. And but all the records were sealed. So people started suing to get it unsealed. People like Dershowitz and people like this guy Cernovich, who's like a Twitter guy, he's a tweety guy, and he tweets. Right? We say, well, why do we care what this guy does? He's a tweeter. Anybody who sits on Twitter all day long tweeting, okay, and we're supposed to give them some kind of credibility or respect for what they're doing. Who's paying them to do that all day long, sit on Twitter? It doesn't work that, so the funding has to come in first to give you the time and the energy and the research to be tweeting all day long. It doesn't come the other way around. Oh, I'm a superstar Twitter. People love my tweeting so bad that they're all friending me, and now I can make a living off tweeting. There's something very suspicious when anybody who pops up like that, in my view. So for some reason he sued, and if you look at Pierce Redmond's work, it seems that his suit's very similar to Dershowitz's suit, and they have a friendship together, these two characters. Then there was these other two lawsuits that were placed in the case, trying to keep the records sealed. And it was, John Doe 1, John Doe 2 said, well, listen, we're named in this lawsuit, and we don't want our names coming out because we're cleared, and we don't want, accusations. And a lot of people suspect that it was Dershowitz. I don't think it was Dershowitz because Dershowitz was trying to get it unsealed. I think it was Prince Andrew, and I think it was Bill Clinton. Anyway, there's 2,000 pages of documents that are going to be unsealed in this case and available. And I got to take it back. All my complaints about the Miami Herald, they are putting a lot of money and weight behind this, trying to get, and they filed a lawsuit to try and get this unsealed as well. And they're being, I think they got their, finally anyway, people catching up to the work you've heard there on the Opera Report the past 6-7 years when no one was talking about this stuff, no one heard about this stuff. Let's see, what else? Exhausted. Michael Jackson. Well, here's a good one for you. How's this? You gotta love this. Bohemian Grove. All right, Bohemian Grove. I guess the city council has to approve, their permits to have these events. Oh, no, they have to approve the police department handling security for these events over there that go on at Bohemian Grove. Which, according to Richard Nixon, okay, in those Watergate tapes, they're all over there dressing up like women and having homosexual sex. That's what That's what Richard Nixon, who attended down there, he was there, an eyewitness. He's talking in his Oval Office, and that's what he says he saw going on down there. I gotta suspect he was telling the truth, right? You know, I don't think he did it for the radio or for the air, you know, for the posterity. Then you have the whole thing about Alex Jones. Alex Jones got famous because he claims he snuck in there, and he saw this and he saw that and stuff. Okay, who knows if that's true or not. You know, he's got some videos. Who knows what Alex Jones is going on with him. But he claims he's a performance artist, you know. He's a very suspicious guy in so many different ways. He seems to have child porn on his computer. He doesn't know how it got there. It's planted there. He was hacked. Okay, he's got some kind of tranny porn on his phone. Okay, well, there's an excuse about that, too. He's friends with Charlie Sheen, the same kind of allegations about him. Well, okay, I did a whole show about that called Hacked. You can go back and find that on Spreaker. But, so Bohemian Grove. Finally, county officials at Sonoma County have decided we're going to put a stop to what's shenanigans going on over there. Okay, and there's a lot of stuff, too. Even if you look up the Richard Allen Davis, the guy who killed Polly Klaas, there's even suspicions that he was involved with providing child victims to that place. Okay, and I talk about that a little bit tomorrow after my show with Dan O'Hanks, his connections to that. You know, listen to that show. There's a lot comes out. I talk about a lawsuit I was involved in it, too, and a case I was involved in, too, that I've never discussed before. But Sonoma County officials finally put their foot down, and he said, you know something, man, these shenanigans that are going on over there, we're not going to provide our police department to go over there to Bohemian Grove and provide them with security anymore for their cremation of care and their ceremonies and their big owls and their homosexual activities and all the stuff they're doing. You want to know why they're putting their foot down? And the alleged, you know, human sacrifices go over there. But you know why they're putting their foot down? They're putting their foot down because the Bohemian Club retreat excludes women. Women aren't allowed to attend these sacrifices. Women aren't allowed to attend these events. Only men. Men, and half of them got to dress up as women. So Sonoma County's putting their foot down and says, unless you allow women to come to your sacrifices over there, or whatever goes on. By the way, that guy from The Simpsons goes there, you know? That guy, you know, does half the voices on The Simpsons, you know? He's one of these Bohemian Grovites. Hey, what's going on in our world here? None of this is theory, man. None of this is, all really going on. Oh, boy. All right, so I got about 30, 40 days left before my little daughter leaves, goes to college. You know, it gets more real every day. I'm going to miss her so much. Good chance I'll be moving out there, too, you know. But we did find out that her college expenses are a lot more than we thought. So if you can help us out with that, help Victoria Opperman get to college, GoFundMe. If you just Google GoFundMe, help Victoria Opperman get to college. And a little $5, $10 donation would be such a blessing in our lives. I'm on a real good streak of good luck here, man. I got a lot of big cases. I even was hired in a Michael Jackson-related case just recently. You know, I got a big lawsuit against the child abuse case. So I got a lot of stuff going on, but turns out and we were feeling so good, too. And we thought we had it all covered. You know, we're really happy and excited. And then it turns out that it's almost double what we thought it was going to be. But she's working real hard on this, and she's really focused and doing a great job on putting all this together. And we got books. I'd like to get her to some driving lessons before she leaves, too. You know, I've been trying to teach her, but we can only do it Sunday mornings and stuff, you know, in the parking lot, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I'd like to get her some driving lessons, too. It's about $500. Anybody out there want to help out? And also, too, you know, we're going to be on KCA, like I said, looking for advertisers. That's a huge opportunity. And I'll give you a rate, man, in the beginning just to keep that thing going. So if you like our shows, you want to check out our archives, don't go to YouTube. Go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, Opperman Report, and then you sign up for free. You follow me there. You get an email. There's a chat room. There's an email. You get an email when a live show goes out. Then you go to, if you want to become a member of our members section. This show tonight, I did for you tonight, was supposed to go in the members section, but I've just been so exhausted and busy with different projects and things like that. I haven't had a chance. So I gave it to you for free tonight. So if you appreciate it, it's my personal experience with Ted Gunderson. I don't know how many guys out there doing shows about Ted Gunderson. I actually knew the guy. But you become a member, $6 a month. There's over 200 shows in there, really excellent quality shows. And I've never had a complaint about the member section, not once. People love it. So okay, guys, good night. Thank you so much. And now a word from our sponsors. OppermanReport.com. Hey, do you like what you're hearing? Do you like the work that you see us doing here at Opperman Report? You can support that work by becoming a member at OppermanReport.com. And as you have access to over 200 exclusive shows and interviews that you can't find on YouTube or Spreaker or iHeart or iTunes or KYAH. You can't find them anywhere else online, exclusive to our member sections, to our members. Also, too, there's images, videos, documents, court docs. And don't forget, you can hear your ad played here on the Opperman Report, reach hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people on a daily basis because the show is repeated every day all over the world. Contact me at oppermanreport@gmail.com and I'll give you a good deal on advertising rates.
Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
Aquadam.net. Give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, having to deal with the insurance company, not to mention the memories that are lost that you can never replace. To those who live in flood-prone and hurricane-prone areas, which is just around the corner, prepare now. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Visit Aquadam.net to see how they can help you prepare to avoid flood damage this season and every season thereafter. An Aquadam could be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. A cofferdam, using water to control water, that can protect your home, your business, your church, your neighborhood, like a dam, but without the beavers. Give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119, 707-764-2119, or look them up online at aquadam.net. They're also on Facebook at Aquadam Inc., or call or email them today. They can help you out. Give them a call. Tell them Opperman Report sent you. Opperman Report. That's 10% off the price to anyone who mentions the Opperman Report.
Are you ready to change your life, but don't know how to start? Is your stress and worries keeping you awake at night? Have you been battling grief, anxiety, or depression all alone? Have you lost touch with your own sense of being or spirituality? Soul Free Therapies offers professional and affordable live video streaming counseling and coaching services from the comfort of your own home. Sessions offered in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Go to our website at www.soul-free.com and book your first session today.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at KMDlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to KMDlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.